89.7 Power FM. We have a special guest on the line this morning. It is Dawn Michele from Fireflight. How are you today?
I am doing very well. We actually have a couple off days on our current tour, and they're in my hometown, so I'm pretty excited to be at my house.
Awesome.
Fireflight has had so many really big things happening in the last year. We have a lot that we wanted to chat with you about today, but I first wanted to just say a huge congratulations on your little J. Scott Danger.
Thank you. He lights up our life and takes away all my sleep.
Sounds about right.
I was curious, though, and I have to ask, how much convincing or deal-making did Matt have to do to actually get the addition of Danger into the official name?
Well, the funny thing is, we didn't find out whether or not we were having a boy or girl. And the whole pregnancy, I don't know, we just all had this gut feeling that we were going to have a girl. And so we put all this care into the girl's name and all that stuff. And then if it was a boy, I said, I want to name it after my father. My father's name is Johnny Scott. Now, our last name is Lott. And so that would make him Johnny Scott Lott. And some people like a rhyme, but Matt thought it sounded, he did not like the rhyme.
Right.
Like, if we're going to do that, we have to break it up. So all through the pregnancy, we were just bouncing off different names. And then it was the week before I was going to have the baby. And like I said, we kind of really had focused on the girl's name. And so I was on a flight ban for the last 3 months of my pregnancy and couldn't tour with the band. So in the interim, I used to be a school teacher. And so I took on a 5th grade class whose teacher had to leave in the middle of the school year. And so I was teaching this 5th grade class, and I taught them up really up until the week before the baby was born. And so they made me this big banner, when I had to leave. And they said, we love you, congratulations. And one of the little boys had put, and his name was Emilio. And he said, you're going to have a boy, and you need to name him Emilio. So I was joking to Matt that it should be Johnny Scott Emilio a lot, because we live in New Mexico now, so why not? I think that just kind of set us off on thinking of things that would be funny. I think we were talking about Mix a lot, and because it's the third name, so I mean, really, you can get away with a lot. So and he was like, what about Danger, Johnny Scott Danger? And I was like, well, I mean, sure, I think that's great.
So do you call him Johnny Scott then?
I call him Johnny most of the time, but sometimes, me and Matt, we're really random people. If we don't always just stick to tradition or whatever, so we just call him whatever we think of at the time, I think.
Yeah, that's so funny, because some of the posts that I've seen, it's like J Danger, and I'm like, that's such a cool name for a little boy, and he has so many names he can pick which one he likes,
Matt's aunt made him a cake. It's too big for him now once he's big enough and walking around, but it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like red and yellow satin and looks like Superman, but I think it says JS Danger on the back. Awesome. And it's awesome.
That is too cool. Now that you are a mom of a brand new baby, I know you guys launched your album and you started touring. Has that changed kind of the dynamic of touring with you or with the band?
So far, honestly, it hasn't. We just try to be really flexible and everything. For me, really everything has changed no matter where I am or what I'm doing. I have the baby along with me, and we've had Phoenix out with us, which is Glenn and Wendy, our bassist and our guitarist. He's almost 4.5 now, so we've had a baby on the bus for a long time, and now we've got a little boy and a baby. We took the back lounge of our bus and we transformed it into like a nursery sort of thing, and that's where Glenn and Wendy and Phoenix have stayed for a long time. So when Johnny came along, they're like, you want to switch out and now you'll take this? And I was like, well, if I take that back room, that's going to put 3 more people in the bunks and only subtract 1 person, And I was like, we need all the space we can get. And I like being in a bunk. I don't know, I feel more secure in there. So me and Johnny we take a bottom bunk and we just kind of cruise along with it. And we have one of the other wives on the tour watching Johnny and Phoenix for us during sound check and during the show. And so other than like a lot more work, I feel like the dynamic is kind of the same. Because Johnny's pretty flexible. I just throw him in like one of those carriers, and on off days we just walk him all with everybody else, So
awesome.
It's been
That's really
pretty
cool.
Crazy, but kind of rad too.
That is very rock and roll.
It definitely makes a very, when people say that the band is their family, this is very much the family band aspect. I love that.
And on this tour, we're with 7th-day Slumber, and they've got, I don't know, like 5 kids all together with all the people in the band, and one of them's playing the drums now. So
yeah, they've got one in the band.
It's really been fun.
So you got to raise Johnny up to play in the band now.
I know, right? Johnny, you better start working.
You do have the new album album Innova out, and we've played a couple songs from there, and another congrats is in order for Safety, nominated for a Rock Song of the Year.
Thank you so much. Stephen Christian actually lives out here in Albuquerque now where I live, and we were all talking about how it got nominated for the dub and everything, and we've been kind of proud because I think we're the only independent band that was nominated in that category.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we were like, how did this happen? How did this happen? And I looked at you and I was like, you know how it happened. It's because you're on the song. He's like, he rolled his eyes. Like, no. I was like, whatever.
Can you tell us a little bit about the writing of that song?
I think when I was writing that song, I was actually working with a dear friend of mine who's also one of the main producers on the album. His name is Rusty Berrycamp. And I think I'd come into the studio, I was like angry that day. I was really angry because I think I was just kind of getting down by the way that I feel like sometimes the church as a whole can kind of turn its back on the people who are suffering and need help. Sometimes we develop our own agenda, and I don't feel like that agenda always follows the Holy Spirit. And so I was kind of upset, and I was like, man, it's hard to think of how do I write and be encouraging and be positive when I'm feeling kind of this way, you know? And so I decided what I wanted to do was to make a song that was uplifting to the people who were suffering, you know, and kind of like a pledge even to the people who were hurting that I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to do whatever I can to help. And so that's why in the song it says, in the light and the dark, I will be your bleeding heart. Because when you need me, I'll be your safety. I'll be your safety. A lot of our songs are really allegorical, and they can work either from a human perspective or they can work as from God's perspective, you know. So I think it's also, it can be an encouragement if you imagine this is what God feels about me and God thinks towards me. Or you can think this is how I should be treating others because we're supposed to be showing God's love to the world.
Now, did you write that with Stephen in mind? Because I listened to that verse that he comes on, and it's like, that just sounds like a Stephen Christian Amberlynn melody.
Oddly enough, I mean, I feel like that was all God because we didn't know that Stephen would be willing to do something like that with us, and we weren't really expecting it at all. And honestly, at the time, our original release date was October of last year, and he was on that final tour for Amberlynn that had 15 days off in 6 months. So there was just no way that he could have even been on the song at that point. But then when we didn't get all our ducks in a row, like I said, it's our independent release, so we were, we didn't quite get it all together in time for our original release date. And so immediately after that, we found out I was pregnant. And like, no, 2015, I'm not going to be able to tour on the album. I'm going to be very large with a baby. And so they're like, well, let's push it to May. And anyways, because we did that, though, because of the pregnancy and because of all the unexpectedness, suddenly it opened up time for Stephen to come and join us in the studio and record on it. So but it's so neat how, your plans don't work out, but God has a better plan.
I know you've had lots of announcements like the baby and the new album, but last month you guys had kind of a sad announcement with Adam deciding to step down from the band.
Yeah, Adam has decided he wanted to retire from touring with Fireflight, and him and his wife, they're originally from Michigan, and then they moved to California, and only a couple months after their move, Adam felt called to join Fireflight and move all the way back to Nashville. So it's been kind of a crazy trip for him. He's been so beloved, and we adore him, and we're very sad to see him go, but we're happy for him, and as he continues to follow what he feels like God's telling him for his life and for his path. And so he's actually an expert carpenter, and he builds amazing furniture from reclaimed wood and stuff. And if I could think of what the name of his company is right now, I would totally plug it right now because he's so amazing. Everyone should go check him out on Etsy.
Awesome.
So, he's just got so many skills and so many talents. And touring is hard. His wife toured with us for a very long time. She was our nanny and our merch person. But that's touring is hard on anybody. And man, she had 2 jobs. So I think they're just kind of enjoying some time together off the road and building their relationship and sowing into stability for a little bit, and that's so super understandable. And me, Glenn, and Wendy, we are road dogs, and we've been in this for 15 years, but we totally understand. And even from our original cast, our original cast was Dee and Justin, they both have retired too as well. We've had to deal with loss per se before, and we've seen God step in. We lost our first drummer, Fee, and he moved on to do a speaking ministry, and then God brought us Adam, and we were so devastated when Fee left, but Adam was so incredible that it's like God just filled up that wound and gave us a new start. And so we just look forward to seeing how God's going to work in the future through this, and we just need to have faith because we've seen him do it time and time and again.
And so you are coming through on the Small Town America tour. It's going to be tomorrow, Saturday, September 5th, out at the Pavilion in Louisville. We've got details on the bulletin board page at kvrk.com. Who's going to be playing drums with you there?
We've got a drummer out with us just for this tour. His name is Dango, and he is incredible. You can actually just Google his name and you'll find all the stuff.
Awesome.
But he is just an excellent drummer, and so we've been having a lot of fun with him. It's been a real party bus on this last trip because We've got Sean Mock and Rhino, his drummer, and an excellent guitarist with us right now, and Nick Bob Hart is, if you think you recognize him, it's because he's played for like every band in the world. and then we've got Dango on the drums, and we got I think it's a really strong team.
Do you know off the top of your head how many times you've actually toured with Seventh Day Slumber?
I do not, but I mean, I think it's at least 4 in the lifetime of our band. Major tours, like month to month long.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Yeah, it seems like you're always out there on the road with those guys. You tend to pair really well together.
Yeah, well, we've just enjoyed being with those guys. Like I said, it's such a family atmosphere with all their kids. All of the kids are just running around. My baby can't go or move on his own yet, but he lets me hold him, and he just watches them all. They just blow by like a tornado, those children just running around together. So
awesome.
It's pretty funny. He can't wait till he can be with them.
Once again, we are on the phone with Dawn Michele from Fireflight. What's the best way folks can get in touch with you guys?
Well, we are available on our Facebook. We answer all of our own messages there, and it's facebook.com/FireflightRock. They can find out all the information they need to about us on fireflightrock.com. And that's pretty much, we're on Instagram. We're all over if you Google us, I guess. Just Google Fireflight, you'll find us.
Awesome. Well, Dawn, thank you so much for catching up with us today. It was good to hear from you.
Sure thing. Thank you very much for your support, and we look forward to seeing you guys hopefully maybe out of the show.